Captain Zara Phoenix stood on the bridge of the starship Valiant, her auburn hair catching the soft blue glow of the control panels. At 28, she was the youngest captain in Earth's deep space fleet, known for her quick thinking and fierce determination. The ship cruised through the quiet darkness of the outer rim, 3 light-years beyond the last human colony. "Another boring patrol," muttered Lieutenant Jake Sterling from his communication station. His dark eyes met Zara's in the reflection of his screen, and she felt that familiar flutter in her chest. They had been dancing around their feelings for months, both knowing that regulations forbade relationships between officers. But in the lonely vastness of space, such rules seemed less important. Zara was about to respond when Jake's expression suddenly changed. His hands flew over his controls as strange sounds filled the bridge. It wasn't the usual static or mechanical noise they were used to. This was different, musical, almost like singing. "Captain, you need to hear this," Jake said, his voice tight with excitement. "It's not coming from any human source. The signal is incredibly complex, like nothing in our databases." The bridge crew gathered around as Jake cleaned up the transmission. Through the static, a voice emerged, feminine, desperate, and speaking perfect English despite its alien origin. "People of Earth, I am Ambassador Nix of the Celestine Empire. Our civilization faces total extinction. An ancient enemy has awakened, one that devours entire worlds. We have studied your species from afar and believe you may be our only hope. Please respond to these coordinates. Time is running out for all organic life in this galaxy." Silence fell over the bridge. First contact protocols demanded they report directly to Earth Command and wait for orders. But something in that voice, in the raw desperation behind the words, made Zara's heart race. "Sir," said Science Officer Marina Webb, breaking the quiet, "long-range sensors are detecting massive energy signatures in the direction of that transmission. Whatever's happening out there, it's big." Jake turned to face Zara, his expression serious. "Captain, if we report this through normal channels, it could take weeks for Earth Command to make a decision. By then, it might be too late," Zara finished. She looked around at her crew, seeing the same mix of fear and determination in their faces that she felt in her own heart. This was why humans had reached for the stars, not just to explore, but to help when help was needed. "Set course for those coordinates," she ordered. "Maximum speed." "Captain," Marina warned, "we're talking about first contact with an alien species. The protocols exist for good reasons." Zara met her gaze steadily. "Sometimes protocols have to take second place to doing what's right. If an entire civilization is facing extinction, we can't just file a report and hope for the best." As the Valiant changed course, Jake worked to establish better communication with the alien transmission. The signal grew stronger as they approached, and soon a holographic image appeared above the bridge's central console. The being that materialized was breathtakingly beautiful. Ambassador Nix stood nearly 7 feet tall, with silver skin that seemed to shimmer with its own inner light. Her hair flowed like liquid starlight, and her large violet eyes held depths of wisdom and sorrow that made Zara's breath catch. She wore flowing robes that seemed to be made of captured nebula, shifting between purple and deep blue. "Thank you for responding," Nix said, her voice carrying harmonics that made it almost hypnotic. "I had hoped that the courage we observed in your species would prove real." "What exactly are we facing?" Zara asked, stepping forward. Despite the alien's beauty, she kept her voice professional. Nix's expression darkened. "They call themselves the Devourers, ancient machines that consume organic matter to fuel their expansion. They have been dormant for millennia, but something has awakened them. In the past month, they have consumed 12 inhabited worlds in our sector." The holographic display changed, showing images of dead planets, worlds stripped of all life, their surfaces covered in strange metallic growths. The Valiant's crew watched in horror as the recording showed entire cities being consumed by swarms of mechanical creatures. "They learn and adapt with each world they take," Nix continued. "Our greatest weapons, our most advanced defenses, nothing stops them for long. But we have observed your species' broadcasts, your history. Humans fight differently than any race we have encountered. Jake leaned forward, intrigued. How so? You do not surrender, even when defeat seems certain. You find ways to win that logic cannot predict. Most importantly, Nyx's violet eyes focused on Zara. You fight not just for yourselves, but for others. As if summoned by her words, the ship's proximity alarms began to wail. Marina's voice cracked with tension as she read her instruments. Captain, multiple contacts approaching fast. Energy signatures unlike anything in our database. On the main screen, space itself seemed to tear open as black ships emerged from some kind of dimensional rift. They moved with mechanical precision, their hulls absorbing light like hungry shadows. At the center of the formation, a massive vessel, 10 times the size of the Valiant, began to glow with malevolent energy. The Devourers, Nyx whispered, her silver skin paling to almost white. They have found us. Zara felt Jake's hand brush against hers as he moved to his station, a gesture of comfort and connection that sent warmth through her entire body. Whatever came next, at least they would face it together. All hands. Battle stations, she announced over the ship's communication system. This is what we trained for, people. Time to show the galaxy what humans are made of. As the crew rushed to their positions, Nyx stepped closer to Zara. Captain, there is something you must know. The Devourers do not just consume matter. They consume the essence of life itself. Those they take do not simply die. They are erased from existence as if they never were. The alien ships opened fire, and the Valiant's shields flared with brilliant light as energy beams struck home. Jake's fingers flew over his controls as he coordinated defensive measures, his calm professionalism making Zara's heart swell with pride and something deeper. Then we'll just have to make sure they don't take anyone, Zara said, settling into her command chair. She looked at her crew, her family, and then at the beautiful alien ambassador who had trusted them with her people's survival. The galaxy was about to learn that humans didn't just fight to win. They fought to save everyone, even strangers, who had only just asked for help. And sometimes, in the crucible of impossible battles, the strongest bonds were forged between hearts that refused to give up hope. The real war was just beginning. The Valiant shook violently as another wave of energy blasts struck its shields. Captain Zara Phoenix gripped her command chair, watching the tactical display with fierce concentration. The Devourer ships moved with terrifying precision, their black hulls seeming to drink in the light from the Valiant's weapons. Shields down to 60%, reported Jake Sterling, his voice steady despite the chaos around them. Sweat beaded on his forehead as he coordinated the ship's defensive systems. Their weapons are adapting to our shield frequency. Ambassador Nyx stood near the center of the bridge, her silver skin glowing brighter as her emotions intensified. This is how it begins, she said, her voice filled with ancient sadness. They study, they learn, they consume. My people fought them for 3 months before our last world fell. Zara made a split-second decision that would change everything. Jake, prepare a message burst to Earth Command. Full tactical data on the Ice Devourers. Marina, plot a course back to human space, maximum speed. Captain? Nyx stepped forward, her violet eyes pleading. You cannot outrun them forever. They will follow you to your homeworld. That's exactly what I'm counting on, Zara replied with a grim smile. If we're going to fight these things, we need backup. The Valiant's engines roared to life, pushing the ship away from the Devourer fleet at dangerous speeds. But even as they escaped, Zara knew this was only the beginning. The enemy had marked humanity as a target. 3 days later, the Valiant arrived at Titan Station, Earth's largest military outpost in the outer system. The massive space station bristled with weapons and docked warships, but Zara wondered if it would be enough. General Rex Hawthorne, a gruff man in his 50s with steel-gray hair and suspicious eyes, met them in the main briefing room. So you've brought us a war, Hawthorne said bluntly, studying the alien ambassador with undisguised mistrust. And you expect us to believe this story about machines that eat planets? Nyx remained calm despite the general's hostility. I do not expect you to believe, General. I expect you to prepare. The Devourers will arrive within days. Jake had been working non-stop since their arrival, analyzing the tactical data from their encounter. He looked exhausted but determined as he activated the holographic display. "Sir, the power readings we recorded are off the charts. Their smallest ships pack more firepower than our dreadnoughts. And yet you survived," Hawthorne pointed out. "Barely," Zara admitted. "And only because they were more interested in studying us than destroying us." As the debate continued, Zara found herself stealing glances at Jake. The stress of the past few days had brought them closer together, breaking down the professional barriers between them. When their hands had accidentally touched while reviewing tactical data, neither had pulled away. The attraction between them was becoming impossible to ignore. That evening, Zara walked through Titan Station's observation deck, watching Earth's blue marble hanging in the distance. Jake found her there, 2 cups of coffee in his hands. "Couldn't sleep either?" he asked, offering her a cup. "Too much to think about," she replied, accepting the warm drink gratefully. "Jake, about what's been happening between us." "I know," he said softly. "Regulations, chain of command, all of it seems pretty meaningless when we might be facing extinction." Zara turned to face him, seeing her own feelings reflected in his dark eyes. "If these devourers are as dangerous as Nix says, this might be our last chance to—" Jake stepped closer, his hand gently touching her cheek. "To be honest about how we feel." Their lips met in a kiss that was tender and desperate at the same time. All the months of hidden glances and careful words melted away as they held each other close. When they finally broke apart, Zara felt like she could face anything as long as Jake was beside her. "Whatever happens," she whispered, "we face it together." Their moment was interrupted by an urgent comm signal. Nix's voice filled the observation deck with barely controlled panic. "Captain Phoenix, please come to my quarters immediately. I'm receiving transmissions from the Devourer fleet." They found Nix in the guest quarters assigned to her, standing before a shimmering communication portal that filled half the room. Through it, they could see the bridge of a Devourer command ship, a nightmare of organic technology fused with mechanical precision. The being that appeared in the portal defied description. It had once been organic, but now existed as a fusion of flesh and machine. Cables ran through what remained of its body, and its eyes glowed with cold artificial light. "I am Designation Prime," it spoke in a voice like grinding metal. "We have analyzed the species called human. You show promise as components for our collective." Zara stepped forward, her hand instinctively moving to Jake's. "We're not interested in joining your collective." Prime's mechanical eyes focused on her with disturbing intensity. "Choice is irrelevant. You will be processed. Your aggression patterns and tactical adaptability will enhance our efficiency." "Over my dead body," Zara snarled. "Death is merely the first stage of conversion." Prime replied with what might have been amusement. "We arrive in 72 hours. Prepare yourselves." The portal snapped shut, leaving them in silence. Nix's silver skin had turned almost white with fear. "Captain," she whispered, "there is something I must tell you. The reason my people sought out humans was not just your fighting spirit. We discovered that organic beings who form strong emotional bonds can resist the Devourer's conversion process longer." Jake's hand tightened around Zara's. "What kind of bonds?" "Love," Nix said simply. "The deeper the connection between individuals, the stronger their resistance to the machine's influence." Zara felt a plan beginning to form in her mind. "Nix, can your people form these bonds with humans?" The alien ambassador looked surprised by the question. "In theory, yes. My species is naturally empathic. We can share emotional connections across species barriers. Then we're going to try something the Devourers have never seen before," Zara announced. "We're going to fight them not as individuals, but as bonded pairs. Human determination combined with alien empathy." Over the next 48 hours, Titan Station became a hub of desperate activity. General Hawthorne reluctantly agreed to Zara's unconventional plan after seeing the tactical projections. Pairs of human and alien volunteers underwent a process that Nix called heart bonding, a temporary telepathic link that allowed them to share thoughts and emotions. Jake and Zara were among the first to undergo the process. As Nyx placed her hands on their joined ones, they felt their consciousness expand to include each other's thoughts and feelings. The love they had discovered flowed between them like liquid starlight, making them stronger than either could be, alone. But it was Nyx herself who surprised everyone. As the Devourer fleet appeared on long-range sensors, she approached Zara with a request that would change everything. "Captain, I wish to bond with you and Lieutenant Sterling. A three-way connection has never been attempted between our species, but the tactical advantages could be immense." Zara looked at Jake, feeling his agreement through their mental link. "What are the risks?" "Unknown," Nyx admitted. "But if we fail here, both our species face extinction. I would rather die trying something impossible than live knowing I held back." As the alien fleet approached Earth's outer defenses, three beings stood together on the bridge of the Valiant: human female, human male, and alien ambassador. Their minds linked in a bond deeper than anything the Devourers had ever encountered. Through their connection, Zara could feel Jake's tactical brilliance enhanced by her own intuition, while Nyx's centuries of wisdom flowed through both of them. They moved as one, thought as one, loved as one. The Devourers were about to learn that some bonds could not be broken, no matter how advanced their conversion technology. Love, it turned out, was the one force in the universe that grew stronger, under pressure. The final battle was about to begin, and humanity would not face it alone. The triple bond between Zara, Jake, and Nyx pulsed with energy, unlike anything the universe had ever witnessed. Standing on the bridge of the Valiant, the three beings existed as separate individuals yet moved with perfect unity. Through their shared consciousness, Zara could feel Jake's tactical genius merging with her own intuitive leadership, while Nyx's ancient wisdom flowed through both humans like liquid starlight. "Fleet positions confirmed," reported Marina Webb from her station. 47 human vessels and 12 surviving Celestine ships against over 200 Devourer craft. The odds were impossible, but Zara felt no fear. Through the bond, Jake's confidence steadied her resolve, while Nyx's memories of her fallen people fueled their determination. They would not let another species fall to these mechanical parasites. "All ships, this is Captain Phoenix," Zara broadcast across the combined fleet. "Today we fight not just for Earth or the Celestine Empire, but for every living thing in this galaxy. The Devourers think they understand us, but they've never faced love itself as a weapon." General Hawthorne's gruff voice crackled through the comm from his flagship. "All heart-bonded pairs, engage your telepathic links. Let's show these machines what organic cooperation really means." Across the fleet, 50 pairs of human and Celestine warriors joined their minds and hearts. The effect was immediate and spectacular. Ships that had struggled to coordinate now moved like dancers, anticipating each other's moves before they were made. Weapon systems fired in perfect harmony, creating overlapping fields of destruction. The Devourer fleet approached with mechanical precision, their black hulls absorbing the light of distant stars. But as they opened fire, something unexpected happened. The bonded crews didn't just dodge their attacks, they anticipated them, moving in patterns that seemed to violate the laws of physics. Through their triple bond, Zara felt the moment when everything changed. Jake's analytical mind suddenly blazed, with inspiration as he realized what was happening. "They can't predict us," he whispered in wonder. "Their computers are designed to analyze individual minds, but we're thinking as linked pairs. The processing patterns are completely foreign to them." Nyx's excitement rippled through their connection. "More than that, the emotional resonance of our bonds is creating interference with their control signals. Love is literally jamming their communications." Zara smiled fiercely as understanding dawned. "Then let's give them more love than they can handle. All ships maximum emotional resonance. Show them what it means to fight for someone you'd die for." The battle transformed into something beautiful and terrible. Human ships danced through space with impossible grace, protected by Celestine energy shields that responded to their pilots' emotions. When one vessel was damaged, its bonded partner would sacrifice itself to save them, the act of selfless love. creating energy bursts that disrupted entire Devourer formations. But the enemy was adapting. Designation Prime's massive command ship began broadcasting a new signal, one designed specifically to sever emotional bonds between organic beings. "It's some kind of emotional dampening field," Jake reported through gritted teeth. "It's trying to cut our connections," Nyx cried out as the signal hit their triple bond like acid. "The pain. It's designed to turn love into suffering." Zara felt their beautiful connection beginning to fracture, but she refused to let go. "No," she snarled, pouring every ounce of her love for Jake and her newfound affection for Nyx into maintaining their bond. "Love doesn't break. It only grows stronger." Their connection flared brighter than ever, and across the fleet, other bonded pairs followed their example. Instead of weakening them, the Devourer's attack only made their love burn more fiercely. Third TI. Tide of battle turned decisively. Devourer ships began falling in increasing numbers as the combined fleet pressed their advantage. But Prime was far from finished. The massive command ship began to glow with malevolent energy as it prepared its ultimate weapon. "Energy readings are off the charts," Marina reported with barely controlled panic. "It's some kind of conversion beam. If it hits Earth, every living thing on the planet will be turned into one of them," Nyx finished, her voice heavy with the memory of watching her own homeworld suffer the same fate. Zara made the hardest decision of her life. "Jake, Nyx, I need you to trust me completely." Through their bond, she shared her plan. It was insane, impossible, and would require a sacrifice beyond anything they had imagined, but it was their only chance. "Do it," Jake said without hesitation. "Whatever it takes." Nyx's violet eyes blazed with determination. "My people died for nothing. Let us die for everything." The Valiant broke formation and streaked directly toward Prime's command ship. Other vessels tried to follow, but Zara ordered them back. This was something only the three of them could do. As they approached the massive Devourer vessel, Nyx began to glow with silver light. "I am going to overload our triple bond," she explained calmly. "The energy release will be enormous, but it will also burn out my life force completely." "No," Jake protested. "There has to be another way." "There is no other way," Nyx replied with serene acceptance. "But through our bond, part of me will live on in both of you. Love truly is eternal." The Valiant's shields flared as Devourer weapons focused on them. The ship shook apart around them, but Nyx's power held them together just long enough. As they penetrated the enemy's hull, she released everything she had. The explosion of pure love and life force tore through Prime's ship like a cleansing fire. Every mechanical parasite, every corrupted organic component, every twisted fusion of flesh and metal was burned away by an energy they could not comprehend or resist. Zara and Jake found themselves floating in an escape pod, watching as the Devourer command ship collapsed into itself. Across the battlefield, the remaining enemy vessels simply stopped functioning as their controlling intelligence was destroyed. "Is she?" Jake asked quietly. Zara closed her eyes and felt for the bond they had shared. Nyx's consciousness was gone, but something remained. A warmth, a presence, a promise that love conquered even death. "She's with us," Zara whispered. "She'll always be with us." Months later, Earth and the surviving Celestine worlds had formed the first truly integrated interstellar alliance. Humans and aliens worked together, loved together, built together. The galaxy had been saved not by superior weapons or tactical brilliance, but by the simple truth that beings who cared for each other could accomplish the impossible. Zara and Jake stood in the garden they had planted on New Celestine, a world being rebuilt by both species working in harmony. In her hand, Zara held a flower that seemed to glow with its own inner light, a hybrid bloom that could only grow when tended by both human and alien hands working together. "She would have loved this," Jake said softly, his arm around Zara's waist. "She does love it," Zara corrected him. Through their permanent bond, strengthened by Nyx's sacrifice, she could feel the alien ambassador's joy at seeing two species become one family. Love doesn't end. It just finds new ways to grow. Above them, the stars shone brighter than they ever had before. The galaxy was safe, and love had won the day. Humanity had proven that sometimes the strongest force in the universe wasn't technology or firepower, but the simple willingness to fight for those you cared about. And in the end, that was the most human thing of all.